that on the 25th of June 2023, Sierra Leone suffered a fatal blow, a malicious blow from the hands of Madabio and a group of thieves and murderers now claiming to be government. Yesterday, the 28th of June 2024, a significant development take place in Sierra Leone. A development the doubters, the defeatists, me claim say no go ever happened. Yes, the APC don't decide for put aside their grievances, in-house fighting, etc., for the good of Sierra Leone. But you see, many of us where they talk on this issue outside of Sierra Leone, I think I can say that with some authority, that we all done the talk say this fight is not a fight between the APC and the SLPP. It just happens that the APC is one of the actors. But this fight, now a group of men and women, the fight against the will of Sierra Leoneans. It just happens that the APC is an actor in this battle. So make nobody no begin feel say this is a fight between the APC and the SLPP. This is a fight for the soul of Sierra Leone. In 2018, as Unabindori where I begin this audio, Julius Madabio tell journalists and say, rig elections lead to war. And if you rig an election, you're asking for war. So again, make nobody no talk say them people are like war. Them people are no one peace na Sierra Leone. Because the man we talk don't rig elections. He don't thief election with the barrel of a gun. So make nobody no accuse we with the call for the removal of Madabio as people who don't want peace in Sierra Leone. There is another set of people I need to talk to today. And these are the moral guarantors, the diplomatic missions and other international bodies operating in Sierra Leone and which are part of the tripartite committee. In 1995, President Bill Clinton tell one of the 4-star top generals in the American Army, Wesley Clark, that, and I quote, "When you can make a difference, you should." End of quote. The reason why President Bill Clinton made this statement in 1995, that because in 1994, we been get two major conflicts in the world where we see millions of people them massacre to a point they be even saying a genocide. One of them was in Rwanda, which started in April 1994, when the president, a Hutu president in plane, was shot down. Then Shutan Kando, the man died. When he died, there was a massacre, a genocide. People were killed. Young women, young children, women, you name it, they were butchered to death. When the killing started, Madeleine Albright, now late, now been the American ambassador to the United Nations, she directed General Wesley K. Clark, a 4-star Army general and a former NATO Supreme Allied Commander. But at that time, General Clark was the Director of Strategic Plans and Policy for the American Joint Chief of Staff, JCS, as we journalists call them in Washington. The Joint Chief of Staff, now the body where gets all the big alagba them, now the American Army, and then work now for advice the President, the Secretary of Defense, the Minister of Defense, and the Minister of Homeland Security, where we can call Internal Affairs. And of course the National Security Council on all matters relating to security and defense and international foreign policies. So when Madeleine Albright of blessed memory asked General Clark for prepare a paper, a program for stop the killing in Rwanda, General Clark came up with a proposal for 20,000 soldier mandem and with a budget of $2 billion United States dollars for go Rwanda, for stop the killing and make peace. Because the French, they may not take a back seat. You know what they asked General Clark? We put the proposal together to the big man them. They ask and say if he feels say the United States Congress, which is the Senate and the Congress put together, go sign go approve a budget of $2 billion and 20,000 troops, where of course would have been a multi-troop from different countries for go Rwanda. It means say that money they too plenty for go spend in Africa. The plan was never approved. By end of June 1994, over 800,000 people were massacred in Rwanda. Yes, because the international communities and the moral guarantors took a back seat. They step aside. The lives of Africans does not worth $2 billion. So in 2019, General Wesley Clark, one of the finest military men in American history, is now retired, narrated this terrible foreign policy failure in a paper presented in New York called What is Power? The general tried to define what is power. But before he presented his paper on what is power, the general, who is a graduate of the American military West Point cadets, reminded the audience about the West Point cadets prayer, which goes like this, and listen very carefully. Oh Lord, make us to choose the other right instead of the easier wrong. Onayagi? The prayer goes like this again, I repeat. Make us to choose the other right instead of the easier wrong, and never to be content with a half truth when the whole truth can be won. Endow us with courage that is born of loyalty to all that is noble and worthy, that scorns to compromise with vice and injustice, and know no fear when the truth and right are in jeopardy. Amen. Now, I am not a soldier, but I have witnessed and reported war, another conflict, having been a journalist for over 40 years. And this prayer, when I go deep into this prayer, this American military cadet prayer describes the value of acting for good and how moral authority and courage are the deepest sources of power. And over the years, intellectuals, philosophers, them bookman them, they all don't quote Aristotle, where we say courage is the first human qualities, because it is the quality which guarantees the others. When I see some of them here, we people and get for the know and understand them. So I repeat it again. Courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality which guarantees the others. According to General Clark, in 1994, when the fighting began in Rwanda, America, at the time, the only superpower, because that time the Soviet Union don't collapse, despite its unchallenged power as the sole superpower, failed to act decisively to stop the Rwanda genocide. General Clark noted that American leadership had not been courageous, wise, or compassionate. The four-star general noted that America had not acted on their values, but that after the Rwanda genocide, many of them became determined to never let something like that happen again. Now, after that meeting day in 1995, President Bill Clinton said, and I quote, "When you can make a difference, you should. Power is acting for good and knowing when you should." So my message today, it is time to do good in Sierra Leone. It is time for the Americans, the Germans, the British, the European Union, African Union, the Commonwealth, ECOWAS, etc., 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 to realize and accept that when you can make a difference, you should. Power is acting for good and knowing when you should before the flames go up in the air and thousands of souls, innocent souls, go down the graves. Exactly 1 year ago, Marabio and a small but significant group of men and women within the SLPP, the Election Commission of Sierra Leone, certain elements within the opposition, the security and the military institutions, the media, the judiciary, the civil society organizations, and many others, including some lawyers, conspired and then tiffed the election result in Sierra Leone. They even went further the next day, the 25th, and killed people in the APC office. On Friday, June 28, 2024, yesterday, the opposition APC, after so much damaging in-house fighting, all man get them bloggers. I am not a blogger, I'm a journalist. All man get them blogger. APC blogger, yeah. This blogger, yeah. Dande, yeah. After all that, the party executive came to their senses and they don't agree, see, the election result was stolen and that Samura Kamara was leading the race and would have won the presidential election had they not interfered with the result. Pure and simple, Marabio thieved the elections and brutalized people. And as of now, he is an illegal president of Sierra Leone. The international community, or the moral guarantors, I can say for free, they're not to take power. Despite the outcome now yesterday in our APC office, the international community and the moral guarantors, they're not to go take power and put on a plate and put on a table for Samura Kamara. It is now time for Samura Kamara to wake up and realize if you want power, political power, you must fight for it. You must fight for it. The APC party, Samura Kamara and his family and political team must now come together and have a serious conversation with Samura Kamara. Power, they know to put on a table give you. It has never happened. It will never happen. Moral courage is something needed now in Sierra Leone. People sometimes talk about change makers. About Samura, for instance, is a change maker. Well, not to one person they make a change. Change makers or inspirational individuals are rare. But the reality is that the grassroots changes comes from many people, from collective effort. Joining hands across the board is what gives you power. Moral courage is not something you are born with. It must be cultivated and developed. So for now, until further notice, Samura Kamara must cultivate and develop moral courage by extending a hand across the board and bring everybody on board. What is needed now from you is the moral courage to prove to Sierra Leoneans and the whole world that you want power, that you want to make and change Sierra Leone, that you want to develop a new Sierra Leone. Because of your values, you must be ready to put aside all the bad blood, gossip, bad mouthing, and walk above everybody and say Sierra Leone is more important than your vexation or your anger. Moral courage is the willingness to extend a hand across the table because of your values and putting aside the thought of difficulties or personal loss. Without any doubt, when you have moral courage, your conviction allows you to act with clarity and remain constant in your goals, but flexible in your approach and methods. Sierra Leone is with you. The entire world stands with you in this battle for the soul of Sierra Leone. This battle you must fight and win. The time of intellectual discourse is past. It's gone. The time for political philosophy is over. Now it is a political battle so that Sierra Leone can once again go out. Sierra Leoneans in and out of Sierra Leone can stand with their head up. And for Sierra Leoneans, once again, to go out and find their bread and butter in peace. You don't have to put their bread and butter on the table, but they need you to help them find a way to go out and look for their bread and butter. This means it is time for bravery to face Madabio and his malicious gang. They have no intention of living quietly. Power, sweet. Nobody know the hand over power easily. But power comes to those who are brave and courageous. Bravery in battle is needed. But it is the courage to stand up for what is right and against what is immoral, unethical, or illegal. And you know, I know, majority of people know, the entire world know that Madabio is malicious, immoral, unethical, and of course, he is an illegal president of Sierra Leone. Over the years, people have said to me, Ojukutu, you are too emotional. You vex quick. Calm down. In fact, what you do now, politics. Leave politics. But how could I leave politics? And why should I not be emotional and angry? We are talking about Sierra Leone, my country. The only place I can work as a free man. It is in the hands of the wrong people. So, tell me something. Why do you always follow the news? Why do you always ask what's in the happiness of Sierra Leone? And yet you say left politics. Let me tell you something many of you don't know. Research from Harvard University, Cambridge University, and 4 other universities in South Korea and Japan has confirmed that anger can spark moral courage. Indeed, one particular research from South Korea discovered that when it comes to standing up for what is right, anger plays a critical role. The authors of the research noted that we often think of anger as a negative emotion linked to aggression, but it turns out that anger can also be a force for good. They concentrate the research in South Korea and Japan because these are 2 of the most peaceful people them, especially with Japan after the Second World War, Hiroshima. So they did this research to discover about anger and emotions, and they discover that often people think of anger as negative emotions, when in fact anger can also be a force for good. To all Sierra Leoneans in and out of the country, whether you are yellow, whether you are green, whether you are red, or orange, or purple, or even that beautiful white, this is no ordinary time in Sierra Leone. And I know why? Because right across the world, thousands of people wants to go back and settle back in Sierra Leone. A generation of people who left Sierra Leone late 60s, early 70s, in mid 80s, they don't work, they don't labor and sweat across the world. Some boku don't bill, some don't even begin their business. Now they are stuck in the Gambia, they're stuck in England, they're stuck in America, they're stuck in Ghana, right across the world, sitting down waiting because they cannot go to Sierra Leone. And you in Sierra Leone, if you're afraid for talk na your phone, there is no peace in Sierra Leone. If you cannot talk, mean turn around and look you back, who are they behind you? If you're afraid, you're scared for express your opinion, then you are not living in a free society. If you are told, if they tell you what's wrong, they say right, then your children have no future. And you cannot live in peace because your life is constantly in danger. The time has come for you to think harder, critically, and ask questions. Una feel say Sierra Leonean life more valuable past the Kenyans and where they protest and demonstrate the call for change in Kenya? Una feel say una sober past the Kenyans them we don't team up for their right? In Kenya today, you have better electricity, better education, better medical facilities. Even election is far more better. Business is good to a large extent. And the Kenyan shillings is far stronger than many other shillings in Africa. Yet, Kenyans are out protesting. So don't come and tell me about people's lives in Sierra Leone. When you stand up for what is right, that is when you are a true, decent human being. And remember this, those who will tell you that everything is okay in Sierra Leone, don't worry. Remember this, they not pay for them petrol. They not pay for their house rent. Most of the time, majority of them, they even get food allowances where they feed them, picking their in and picking their house boy, their house girl. Even salaries for the house boy, house girl, they don't provide it. The state provide it, or the institution where they work for provides it. They do not suffer or humiliated when they want transportation. They do not suffer for health care or for education, for school fee. They don't suffer for go pay for electricity or for getting data, and then they talk freely when at their phone. Nobody questions them. Now then they give information to their own bloggers them for talk. Meanwhile, you afraid for talk. You, before you talk, you look behind your back. And you, the struggle for buy petrol. You the struggle for get food for eat. And then go tell you, see, everything is okay in Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone is a living hell. We have people who don't get no business for their governance, governing the country. So, the fight is now with you, Samura Kamara. The moral courage needed must be developed and cultivated to fight for Sierra Leone. Moral courage is the willingness to extend a hand across the table because of your values and putting aside the thoughts of difficulty or personal loss. Without any doubt, when you have moral courage, your conviction allows you to act with clarity and remain constant in your goals, but flexible in your approach and method. Samura Kamara, you must fight if you want power. The time for a book, philosophy, intellectualism is over. Power, now do or die. You must fight for power. And to the international community, especially the American ambassador, I hope you will put financial benefits ahead. You will not put financial benefit ahead of democracy, human rights, and freedom. Remember the words of your former president, Bill Clinton. When you can make a difference, you should. Power is acting for good and knowing when you should. It is well. It is well with our souls. It is well with our souls. Oh Lord, make us to choose the harder right instead of the easier wrong, and never to be content with a half-truth when the whole truth can be won. It is well with my soul. So I'll ask the Lord to make the Americans, the British, and all good, well-intentioned Sierra Leoneans to choose the harder right instead of the easier wrong, and never to be content with half truth when the whole truth can be won. Endow us with courage that is born of loyalty to all that is noble and worthy, that scorns to compromise with vice and injustice, and know no fear when the truth and right are in jeopardy. Amen. My thanks to my producer, Mr. Kelzo Conte, and to my very patient editor, Davida. It is well with my soul, and it will be well with our souls in Sierra Leone, because the right thing will be done when you make a difference. You should. When you can, you must. Power is acting for good and knowing when you should. God bless Sierra Leone. Goodbye.